Hi, so we are 8 people, 3 dogs, and a snake on a bus. This is our bus. It's a 1986 MCI.
So this is our living room slash craft room slash dining room slash homeschool space. We have 2 tables that fold out to the sides that are just actually the back of the couch. And storage inside. We have all the kids' games and toys and art supplies. We have sewing supplies as well as homeschool supplies under here. So we have a ton of storage in our couches, which has been really nice. And one thing we do a lot when we're driving is put one side of the table up so that the kids can be doing art projects or working on schoolwork or whatever while we're driving. We do have 4 seatbelts on each side of the couch, and it's actually one of my favorite features. A table space for the sewing machine or the kids' art supplies or whatever is happening at the time.
This is my room!
That's Hudson. He's really excited to show you his room. Like I said, this is where we do all of our schoolwork. Our family meals are in here. We're very much an eat at the table kind of family, and that was part of our family culture. We didn't want to sacrifice for tiny living. We knew we wouldn't always have like a picnic table or maybe rainy days or whatever. We wouldn't always be able to eat outside, although we do a lot. And so it was really important to us to have a table that all of us could fit in.
We've actually had a lot of people request the plans for these that are building buses. And we're happy to share those with whoever thinks they could make something like this work. Because it doesn't need to be on this big a scale. It can be a smaller, table, something, just for a couple people even, but still a table that tucks away really easily and doesn't take up very much space.
So we are a pretty musical family. That was another part of our family culture we wanted to bring along on the road. Our daughter writes a lot of music and plays the ukulele. My husband plays the guitar, so we have it up on the wall. And then my son plays the drums, and obviously we couldn't fit a drum kit in the bus. So we got him this little box drum, and it actually serves as extra seating or a stool. So it's actually been really multi-purpose.
Yeah, little box drum.
We've been on the road for 7 months now. The first few weeks were really difficult.
Yeah.
We had sold everything and made this leap, and so when we had these first couple of weeks that were really difficult, we just would like lock eyes across the room like, what have we done?
Like, oh, yeah.
So that's like the one thing I would tell people that are starting out is like, the first little bit is hard.
And it kind of catches you by surprise, and so we had watched a lot of videos and talked to a lot of people, and we had flown out to a tiny home festival and kind of done a lot of homework, and so we kind of felt well prepared. But then there was still some things that just surprised us, dealing with water, finding a place to stay, or the composting toilet, or
just having all of us in such a small space right on top of each other.
Yeah.
There was just a learning curve. But now I feel like we're over that. And obviously there are hard days still, like any lifestyle, but it's good. We're really seeing the fruits of our choices now. The dog likes to rest here so he can look out the window while we're parked. We keep all our backpacks, our hiking gear, our jackets, dog leashes, yoga mats, vacuums. It's our utility closet, really. When we're driving, we just take down all the jackets and backpacks and things and move them to a bed or something and then hit the road. With this floor, it's just a sticky back vinyl tile, and it's worked out pretty well.
It's worked out pretty well, but the nice thing is if any tiles get damaged at any time, then we can easily peel one up and replace it. We get a lot of compliments on the floor. A lot of rigs you go onto and they're very very thin walls, very thin glass. But I really like the noise reduction that happens when we close the windows in our bus. It makes it makes it easier to sleep in areas that may have a little bit higher traffic, or you know, things going on around you. Like here at Schoolypalooza, there's a lot of activity. Even at night, we wanted to make sure we had plenty of light, and so we put in quite a few LED lights into the ceiling, and they've worked out great. So it's always bright in here if we want it to be, and I think it helps a lot because, like we said, we spend a lot of time at the table playing games or you know, eating or whatever. Yeah. So it works out really well.
We knew we wanted a lot of white to open up the space and make it feel a little big and light and airy, but we also wanted some color, and so we brought that in the cabinets, and then the warmth of the wooden countertops, which we actually really love. So we went with full-size appliances in the kitchen just because we have so many mouths to feed and we do so much of our cooking from scratch. And so we went with a full-size gas oven and range. The stove and oven both run off of propane. We can usually fit about 2 weeks worth of food in between our cabinets and our refrigerator for a family of 8. That's a lot of food. Our solar has been plenty to handle it, and so that hasn't been a problem at all. Our cabinets are actually quite spacious, and we've just utilized a lot of vertical storage in those to be able to fit all of our baking pans and all of those kinds of things.
Yeah, and these drawers also lock when we're on the move.
Oh, yeah.
We have a locking feature underneath. It's actually a patio door lock that I've fitted underneath, and it goes up through the bottom of the drawer to keep it locked, so when we're moving.
We chose out our dishware ahead of time, looking for something that would be really durable, but also like take up a lot less space. So this is 10 plates, and they don't take up much space, so we just chose enamelware. And then once we had the dishware, we were able to custom design this drawer to fit all of our dishware for 10 people.
This is the only furnace in the bus. It's down here. It keeps the front of the bus pretty warm. Back of the bus,
Gets a little chilly.
Yeah, we've had a couple of pretty cold nights down to 20 degrees or so, and found that that things get a little chilly in the back of the bus. Yeah. So we just have some extra blankets back there. But if we ever have kind of a prolonged stay in a more in a chillier climate like that, then we'll probably have to come up with a warming solution for the back of the bus. These also double as extra cutting boards, which is really nice because somebody can be preparing dinner over here while somebody else is cutting vegetables or whatever over on this side. One feature we have yet to take advantage of is our outside shower.
We were studying the life of Abraham Lincoln and not even really connecting the dots, realizing, oh, we're actually in Illinois.
We're in Illinois, right?
Like, we're a couple hours away. So we literally just went to his house. We went to the courthouse where he worked. We went to, you know, where they held his funeral service. And it was like suddenly everything we've been reading about is real. My kids are stepping in those footsteps, you know, and so it's more to them than something they read in a book. More to all of us, not just them, but it's not just something that they read about, it's something that they walked.
We have a storage closet here where we have some hanging storage for some clothes. Also kind of our command center for all the technical stuff, hot water heater, battery levels, inverter. Also at the bottom of this closet is the access to my oldest son's room. So this being a tour bus, there's some large storage bays underneath, and that middle storage bay we were actually to convert into our boy's bedroom, and he loves it. It's his man cave. He just absolutely loves it, and he can access it from here, or he can access it from the storage bay door outside. He can't open it from the inside, but sometimes he'll just pop that open and hang out in his room. That is also where our snake lives, because that's our 13-year-old boy's snake. Important part of the 8 people, 3 dogs, and a snake on a bus. And then as we come back farther, we have the 4 bunk beds that we made. So these 2 on this side are 2 6-foot bunk beds. And these are two 5-foot bunk beds because we have some younger kids that just don't need that amount of space. And as the older kids get older and move out, we can kind of just rotate people into the bigger bunks. We have our 16-year-old, our 10-year-old boy here, our 10-year-old girl down here, and then our 4-year-old. When we decided to live this lifestyle, we obviously talked to our kids and we got their feedback, but a lot of it, was kind of beyond their control. It was what we felt was best for our family. But this was completely in their control. It gave them something to say, okay, this is my space, it's my decision, and I get to control what happens in here. Even though it was a hard kind of transition for them, they still had this thing that was theirs.
This is kind of our closet area. We have a washer dryer, and we really don't use it a lot when we're boondocking because it does take a lot of water. And so if we have close access to water, then we will use it and either air dry, or if we are plugged into shore power, then we will use the dryer feature. And it's actually worked really well for us.
On our bus, we really wanted to separate all the kind of bathroom facilities. So we have the sink separated from the toilet, separated from the shower, so that, again, with our number of people, everything kind of keeps coming back to the amount of people we have on the bus and how we had to design around that specific issue. But it's worked really well. So that we can everybody can be doing their own thing and what they need to do. So this is a stool that we designed for Hudson, our youngest. He's 4, and vertically challenged. This folds down, and he's able to stand up there and brush his teeth or wash his hands after he uses the restroom or whatever. So it really helps us because we don't have to lift him up to the sink all the time. This is also where our hot water heater is at. Under here, we have cleaning supplies and rags and some painting supplies so we can do paint touch-up stuff. And then our hot water heater is under there. I wanted that to be as close as I could to the bathroom and washer and shower. We had a big 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom house, in the historic district, beautiful historic home.
We had great jobs.
Yeah, great neighbors. I had a fantastic job. It was all really, really good. As far as, what you're supposed to do. It really opened up our time, not just to spend with our kids, but the rest of our family. Mm-hmm. We spent way more family time with your parents, with my parents, with my brother, with your siblings.
With extended family we haven't seen in years. This is kind of our command center wall. The kids like to know where we're going to be coming up, and so we have our calendar. We like to know where we've been, so we have our map, and then just our chore lists, and a lot of our time is spent at national parks, museums, things like that. And so we kind of let our kids come up with this bucket list every quarter that they can choose just for fun kind of stuff. Whipped cream fight is on for this month, so.
Oh, that's this month?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I'll get ready for the whipped cream fight. This is a composting toilet, which we just made ourselves. It's essentially a 5-gallon bucket with a urine diverter. A really good friend of ours just 3D printed up a urine diverter with kind of some of the dimensions and what we needed. And it's worked great. I lined the whole inside of it with that rubber plastic dip kind of stuff so that it's completely sealed, so that if there is any spillage or anything like that, then it's easily wiped up and disinfected, and it's worked out well. So we have and then right next to it we have the peat moss, which is what we've been using to cover the solids. My wife says to me, "Hey, can you make a bathtub out of a whiskey barrel?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" So we really liked the idea of the exposed copper. We were looking at shower heads, and we really wanted a shower head that had a pause button on it, so you can kind of set the temperature and then hit the pause button to stop it, and kind of take the military shower, soap up and then turn it back on to rinse off. But they were way more expensive, so we just built in a pause button. I just put in a third valve. So we got our hot and cold, and then this is kind of our pause button valve, and it works really, really well. This is a cool feature that we actually brought from our home. This is the measuring board for all of our kids. It has, you know, even our oldest kids from when they were 1 or so. And this is actually our family motto. Our family motto is have fun, be good, learn lots. This is the master bedroom and the hangout spot and the TV room, the movie room, my office. This is where I work. I do graphic design and instructional design for a living while we're on the road, which is nice because we can kind of do that from anywhere we have service.
This is kind of nice because then when we have the family in here for a family movie night on the computer, it's like a sectional sofa and everyone can fit.
And this is the bed. This folds down into a queen size bed.
Kind of futon style.
Yeah, it kind of takes up the whole area, so the whole thing becomes our bed at night. This bus has a pretty large engine. It has what's called an 8V92 Detroit diesel, and it's a big boy. When we bought the bus, it had 225,000 miles on it, so we're really just kind of getting worn in. 3 storage bays underneath it. The first one is just storage. It's just straight storage. We keep sports equipment, all that kind of stuff. The middle bay is our oldest son's room. So in this third bay, we have kind of all of our mechanical stuff. We've got our water, 100 gallons of fresh water, a 100-gallon gray tank. We have our battery bank, which is 6 volt batteries wired in parallel and series. So we have a 12-volt system. And then under here, I have all of our charge controllers, our inverter, 3 30-pound propane tanks, and then we store the generator up front in the other bay. We decided we wanted to be off-grid as much as we possibly could. And a big part of that is figuring out a solution for power, obviously. So I used as much real estate as I possibly could, and I put 6 300-watt panels up there. So we have 1,800 watts of solar power up there, and really, as long as we don't have a couple cloudy days in a row, I never have to run this generator. It keeps up with everything.
You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. 8 people, 3 dogs, and a snake on a bus.
All one word, no spaces.
And the number.
The numbers. Don't spell out the numbers. If you're asking yourself the question, can I do that? Can I live like that? The answer is absolutely yes. Go for it. Good luck, everybody. Thanks for watching.